Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
Somebody gave no, that aspirant. Please go and make noise, they take you up as their candidate, but when you're not bona fide. Now, once it is time and you can no longer look for a viable candidate, then this one stays away from nomination. There's a noob guy in the Fox Odois constituency who did the same thing as this Asio. There's another one in the Honorable Obot constituency who did this, and many others. And as we go to the west, as the campaign goes to the west, you are going to see many people, you're going to see many people dropping. You're going to see many people dropping out. So I would implore opposition parties, before you jubilate that you have candidates, please check yourselves. And you have seen in this term of parliament.
You want to suggest that NUP never did due diligence?
They don't do the effective due diligence. And I can give you also mine. Why have I been declared unopposed? A guy, he's the general secretary of NRM, Elders League, in Kasodo sub-county in Paris. But somebody, his brother who happens to be the chairperson of DP in the Paris district, told him, if we nominate somebody in DP as a parliamentary candidate, DP has 30 million for each of the parliamentary candidates. So the man crosses from NRM, goes to DP to pick a parliamentary card for older persons. DP actually paid for him the 3 million. He didn't even have the 3 million. After nominating on DP ticket, he sent a filler to me, saying, go to Ofono, tell him I'm now a candidate if he can give me 100 million. But it wasn't DP. Now, when his matter...
Was that ransoming?
Yes. When his matter...
Negotiating?
When his matter of forgery came up, because I had interacted with all the 280 delegates, and I did not hear his name. So once the nominations were done, I requested the Electoral Commission to give me his forms, because that's the law. A voter, your rival shall ask for your details. So I looked at his nominators, his supporters. Then I started calling them one by one, and they said, we don't know that guy. Now, when we closed in on him, then he came back around and said, Ofono, save me, I am NRM. He brought the register of NRM.
Not DP.
I'm not DP. I had gone to DP to get 30 million. So DP itself did not conduct due diligence. They only relied at face value on what their chairperson in the parliament, who had connived with this guy to cheat DP. And I can say it, Honorable Gerard Sranda, the Secretary General said, and even the Honorable Mao said, forgive us, we did not do due diligence. If we had known that this guy is actually a member of NRM, even a leader in NRM, we wouldn't have. And because of that, they actually forced him to refund the 3 million.
Shame. Well, Leonard,
these political parties don't do effective due diligence.
I want to bring you in before I welcome Honorable Engineer Ronald Valimwezo.
I hope he doesn't do, I did this.
Punch. I hope you're safe. But well, Leonard, first, what does the surprise emergence of OO as unopposed speak to parliamentary politics? You'll also talk about ASIO a bit.
First, he has categorized the candidates that run against big people into 3 categories. The first one, he fell short of telling us that they're extortionists.
Yeah.
And I think that's the right description. They're extortionists, or you can say political conmen. They scheme. And or maybe conmen could be a little bit hard. Let me say speculators. So they read the room, and they say, okay, this big man is not having a serious rival, so I will threaten him a bit. Okay, with 200, 300, or 400 million. Yeah, this we saw with the former vice president, Edward Sekandi. Yeah, or even a job. We saw with the minister, Matia Kasaija. He offered a job to the fellow who threatened to run against him in the other election. So these are things that have been taking place. And I think he has categorized them very well. That's how they are.
Doesn't that give a dent onto the opposition?
No, you see, we don't have to be harsh to on the opposition.
No,
because
not only the opposition. Even within NRM, they do it.
So you see, the opposition here doesn't have the luxury of doing the due diligence you're talking about. Yeah? You have seen that, for example, the NUP, when they wanted to open an office in Mbarara, they told you that they had to do it under a cloud of secrecy. So the opposition doesn't have the luxury and the machinery that, you know, the state machinery that the NRM enjoys, for instance, yeah, when it is scouting for candidates and identifying candidates. The opposition doesn't have that. They don't. They neither have the resources
Would you say
nor the reach.
Lacks sophistication
No,
in their selection processes?
But I have submitted here before, Simon, that some of the opposition guys here are doing gigs on behalf of the NRM. Yeah? So the opposition, like he has told you, that some of the people in the opposition are planted there by the state machinery. So you cannot say that every member of the opposition is genuinely opposition or opposed to the ruling party in principle. So the opposition is heavily infiltrated. Why? Because I have said, time without number, this is a military government that operates with military means. Now, the art of statecraft that the OOs understand is statecraft which relies heavily on intelligence. Yeah? Intelligence is the bedrock of military government and military governance. So they plant people, they are in the opposition. And they also go ahead and curtail the opposition, prevent the opposition from being able to mobilize and organize beyond the confines of urban politics. So the opposition is constrained to operating within urban centers where they can just pop up and the numbers will come. But in the rural areas...
The drama about ASU.
Mm-hmm. For me, I think
the speaker vindicated finally.
No. I want to agree with OO that maybe she falls in the third category, but I also think she could be in the first category of extortionists. Yeah, I do believe that probably she had a bone to pick with the speaker, or as a relative can come to you and say, give me money, you refuse to give them money. They see an opportunity, they jump on it. So, and maybe after threatening to run on NUP ticket, and she knew that the speaker is determined not to have a rival in this election, she wanted to come unopposed.
So was the hysteria from the opposition misguided in coming out with all manner of allegations?
There are weaknesses in not being able to do due diligence, but I cannot classify that as hysteria. It is just a systemic weakness in all our opposition parties. You have seen that was NUP, and he has just told you DP fell in the same trap. So it is just a systemic weakness, which is by design, and that is part of Museveni politics.
NUP has 57 MPs in parliament. That's when they came in 2021.
Had.
Why do you think majority of them are silent? Are they genuinely opposition? Or
some have been bought out.
Or are they incompetent?
No, some have been bought out.
Yes,
and
so
it is on record. Some have been bought out.
Engineer Malimwenzo, pleasure hosting you tonight. We start off with the ASIO drama. A person who had been reported abducted. Accusations were flying left, right, and center that the Speaker of Parliament was the key suspect in this. Now she turns up at Bukedea at the President's rally. Doesn't this leave an egg on the face of the National Interplatform?
Simon, it doesn't. Because we all know that politics in Uganda has been commercialized. And we have been overwhelmed with intimidations. So this lady was first intimidated by the team of the Speaker. It is said, anyway. And later, she was convinced. To me, I think she was bought out. And that's why you saw her change her mind. But it was because of intimidation.
In the first place, did you ever vet this girl before you gave her a party ticket?
We did. There is no single person that was not vetted. Absolutely. We did internal vetting because at first you all are aware.
She came under the contingency plan, did she?
Yes, even with the contingency plan, we do the vetting. Because first and foremost, we must see that you have the capabilities, you have the required documents as stated in the laws of Uganda. So we have to look at all that. Otherwise, there is no reason why we bring a candidate that cannot qualify. So we did the internal vetting using our mechanisms.
What if she shortchanged you? She played you?
And she indeed did that to us.
No, but Simon, we cannot allow Honorable Parliament to get out with that. Who is the NUP chairman in Ebyokya?
In Ebyokya?
Does NUP have a branch in Ebyokya?
We have a branch, we have a team.
Who is the chairman?
I've forgotten the name, but we have a gentleman who heads that region.
Okay. You have
Who heads that sub-region.
You have a verifiable membership register of NUP. So that you can trace back that and say maybe this person joined it 2 years ago, 1 year ago.
I don't think, in all fairness, I don't think that lady joined the NUP.
We do have a register. And you're all aware that we have been recruiting members in the party. Even up to now, we are recruiting members.
Yeah, but it is actually in that process of recruitment that I come and I say, in fact, from my side, we send you people who abuse us the most. And then for you, you actually believe that because they insult us the most, therefore, they are bona fide.
Some of them are even brutalized.
Honorable Mwenda, there is a sense that NRM won on ASU by getting her onto the president's rally, standing beside the president, and all cheerful. She didn't look like someone who was out of her conscience.
She had been intimidated. And she had no option otherwise to give in. You are aware that many countries were intimidated. So it was...
No, but doesn't this expose gaps in your internal vetting processes?
It doesn't.
And how you arrive at candidates?
You know, we have areas where people think that they are the only people that should stand for such positions. That it is their preserve. You know, that's what NRM does. They think that politics is their preserve. And they think that no one should stand with them. You are all aware that it all began with our first candidate, Helen, who was deregistered. She was in the register before, but we saw her missing out in the register because there was a cartel between some few candidates and the Electoral Commission. So there was foreplay in this.
I think Honorable is contradicting himself.
No.
Yeah, because you started off very well by telling us that politics has been commercialized. So which means that the number one motivation factor that could have got this lady into politics in the first place could be money. Yeah? Now, if money was part of the motivation that got her into politics, to even contemplate joining a parliamentary race, then if the money has been given to her by the speaker, yeah, then she will happily go back to NRM. So it cannot be that intimidation is still the factor. If money is the factor, then intimidation becomes secondary.
It is secondary, but it was.
Leonard, before we jump on to the next topic of the day, how deep can we go in examining the shenanigans that surround the ASIO phenomena? Is it necessary anyway?
No, you see, this is a game which has been played by NRM big shots for almost 25 years. Like I've given an example of the former Vice President Edward Sekandi. Yeah, they are big. Most of these ministers, I don't want to mention some of the names. Yeah, some have been even my clients. I don't want to mention their names. I've given an example of Honorable Matia Kasaija. The Deputy Speaker also is unopposed. And there was still complaints from the NUP candidate that they, somehow they were prevented from getting nominated. Yeah, and I on one hand, I understand why these big shots don't want to have competitors. Why? It's because they have created so many enemies from within. They have many people scheming for their positions. So they know very well that those enemies are waiting to jump on the competitor. If it means financing that competitor, they will do that. And all of a sudden, you'll have a hot race on your hands. So they are trying to do everything possible to avoid election. In fact, in political strategy, we say that if you can avoid an election, please avoid it. That's why you see when President Museveni in NRM does not allow a primary to be held for the chairman's position. He has the leverage.
He will never gamble.
Yeah, he can't gamble. So if Museveni can do it in NRM and avoid the primary, these people are saying, no, we can also avoid it here.
Well, yeah, I want us to get to the floods, but before we get there, Honorable Balimwezo, as we speak now, Ofono Opondo is MP-elect, having come in now unopposed. How much of a force is he to reckon with in the 12th Parliament?
You know, like we did say that contesting for
older persons.
Special interest groups are very, very terrible. Very terrible. It's very hard for opposition to win those positions because basically it's money. You saw what happened in Kololo, that even some of the members like Mukula is a wealth person, but he feared to contend with some of these people because they had billions of money for positions that were actually where there is no salary. They were paying billions of money. So special interest groups are very, very tricky. That it's hard for an opposition candidate who has no money to win such elections. And that's the reason that is already.
Yeah, but do you look at him as a dynamite who is going to shake Parliament, or is just one of the numbers?
Absolutely not. In the Parliament, he will do nothing.
Yeah?
I'm telling you. All little.
You see,
because number one, you have to catch the eye of the speaker. It will be the speaker that will determine his fate in Parliament.
So is he just a number?
It's just the numbers. You know.
I can see that
it's just the numbers.
Honorable doesn't know politics because, in my case,
you know, for the numbers, you are going to contribute a lot.
No.
Like it was earlier said that even if you elected 18,
can make a noise also. But Honorable Balimwezo, I've been much longer than you in
politics,
open politics, especially the one of NRM, 38 plus years. My name speaks louder than
and
yours.
Volumes.
Than yours.
In terms of what?
You cannot just brush off and say money. I don't think I had more money than the minister I defeated. The minister is a big businessman. Honorable Gidudu.
But Ofono, you have money.
But he's not known. His voice is.
And you're a friend to the president. You're closer to the president
than the minister.
Yes.
Anyway, so I don't want to have that argument with Honorable Balimwezo since he's not going to be in the 12th Parliament. I'm not sure he will be the Lord Mayor anyway.
Sure.
I'm not. I wish you were the Lord Mayor. Of course, I would prefer you, but I don't think you have what it takes to knock down that guy. Let us leave that debate
for another
of my performance when we go to.
It's too early to judge you.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, let's get straight on to the next issue. Floods that ravaged the city. There's been a lot of blames, barbs, promises, and denials. What do you read between the lines? I'll start with you.
I want to look at the different stakeholders one by one. And I'll tell you what is wrong with each of them. First is the investor. This is an investor whose track record is, full of mediocrity. The structures that he has around Kampala. He promises heaven and delivers purgatory. Nachivubo Stadium is a case in point. You promise heaven and deliver purgatory. There is no Roman Catholic faithful who is going to heaven and ends up in purgatory and becomes happy. So the investor has incompetence and mediocrity. Therefore, he does not have a full appreciation of the role of professionals in a project of that magnitude and the centrality to the livelihood of the Kampala population. So he does not see the importance of respecting professional opinion.
Yeah, but
He
no.
goes about...
He brings a project
that's
baptized as godly.
Yeah.
That would lead
project, I'm not against the project. I am against the role that you give to the professional people. If you bring engineers on board, so for example, if they tell you that go and before we approve your plan, go and bring, let's have a hydrological survey conducted, and you do not bring it, you do not actually do it.
You instead start building.
You start building, even before you have an approved plan. Now that is impunity. Yeah? That is impunity. Which impunity I have summed up by telling you is incompetent as a businessman, because businessmen respect professional opinion. He's incompetent as a businessman, and he thrives in mediocrity, because his aspirations are at the lower end. He's not aspiring to build things that will
seem to suggest that
will bedazzle the population.
His mediocrity, as you choose to call it, is massaged by the powers that be.
Exactly. You see, let me tell you, Benjamin Franklin once said that it is only in rivers and bad governments where the lightest come on top. I will leave you to interpret that. So I will now move to the next stakeholder, the Kampala Capital City Authority, Executive Director. When I was here some time back, I told you about impostorism. This is a crisis of leadership in KCCA. If you know that you are dealing with the poster child of impunity amongst the Kampala entrepreneurial class, who says I have connections, left, right, and center in the corridors of power, and you tell them that we want this before you start undertaking this project, you go ahead and constitute a multi-stakeholder team. You bring the police, top leadership of the police. You bring National Environmental Management Authority on the table. You bring all these people on the table and tell them, this is the position. We have told this guy to do A, B, C. You have to beat this guy at his game, because you know very well his methods are well known. You know that the guy will actually lock UKCCA out of the place, and he will do that with the aid of the police or the military. So you must preempt those moves by bringing those institutions on board before you issue your instructions. Now, that is what a leader who understands what the word executive means in their position. But because most of these people think that, oh, this person is connected to the president, I cannot go so hard on them. That is imposter syndrome. So they feel that the president did them a favor to make them executive director. For me, there is a Kampala businessman who hired me as a consultant for his institution to restructure the institution. The moment he stopped respecting my opinion, I said, yes, we agreed $200,000 here, but I'm throwing out this thing. I'll move away. How many Ugandans will move away? That's why you see me, I have a lot of respect for Jennifer Musisi. Jennifer Musisi was able to shake things up because she stood up to bullies. You remember when she threw out General Sejusa from the house? He threw out the former mayor, Nasa Sebagala. It's because she knew, she understood, she was not an imposter in the position. She knew. So KCCA has failed on providing leadership. So, and the buck starts and stops with the executive director. So that is why we are where we are. Now they are doing posturing. That for us, our hands are clean. Yeah? But they didn't, they did not, if you look at all the agencies that had a role to play, KCCA had the primary role, and they had to take leadership, bring the other agencies on board, and see how Ham will not do what you are asking him to do. Now, so now we move to these other agencies. Like, you see the police. The police does not understand that this is a security threat.
How?
Police used to have a special branch to do counterintelligence. The military has an intelligence wing. This is a security threat. The traders, if the traders now decide to go on the streets Because people have lost money. They have taken loans from microfinance institutions. Their livelihoods are at stake. So this becomes a security threat. The security agency should have been proactive to stop this thing. But you know what is happening? Everybody sits back and says, when you see harm, you see people, you see the first family. When you see harm in something, you see people who are close to the corridors of power. So people are intimidated, everybody sits back and looks the other way. Now, finally, the other stakeholder I want to deal with is the traders themselves. The traders are victims of Musevenism. They are victims of Museveni's politics. Museveni's politics is a politics of disenfranchisement of citizen agency. Yeah? You see the way schools have disenfranchised parents? Parents no longer come together to say, no, this is unfair. A school administration will just wake up and say we are increasing fees. And now every parent says, people, if I put up my hand in a parents' meeting, they will say I have run broke. They will advise me to take my child elsewhere. You see, so citizen agency in every sector of Uganda has died. So these traders, everybody minds their own business. Some of them, actually, the bigger ones tend to think that, for us, we are not into politics. Those people who do politics. You remember when Kano Besigye used to come to town, walk to work. There is a clique of traders who used to come and say, no, for us, you are disrupting business. So they tend to think that politics is away from them. And in fact, I must restate, the biggest danger we have as a society is the political illiterate, who thinks that for them, they can sit back and leave lumpens to play politics, and politics doesn't affect them until it gets to their door. Yeah.
I want you to dig deep into the politics and the level of denial, promises, and what has been termed as state indifference. Because when we had Chitezi, we saw heads rolling.
The only issue I would agree with Leonard is the technical incompetence of the people who are running KCCA or Kampala for that matter, and other urban authorities of Uganda. That's the only area where I would agree with him. Let us look at the immediate past history of Kampala. And good enough, you brought Kitezi. Was harm in Kitezi? For Kitezi to collapse the way, in the manner it collapsed, was harm there? Is this the first time we are having floods in Kampala? Is this the first time floods are destroying businesses?
Yeah, but let's look at the scale.
No, don't talk about the scale. Didn't people used to die in Kawempe, where they brought the phrase, Amazi Malungi, Ngatosula Bwaise. So please, I think people are using harm as a scapegoat. As a scapegoat. He may be a shrewd businessman who may be taking advantage of internal weaknesses of the government system. But I wouldn't put harm number 1, number 2, number 3 of the problem, because, first of all, he did not give himself Nakivubo, somebody gave him. He did not give himself the authority to build what he's building. No. What I'm saying, he did not give himself. So, somebody gave him an offer. That person who gave him an offer ought to have been on the lookout. Ought to have been on the lookout that, is this guy going to play mischief?
Is that the president?
Whoever gave him. That's the president. But the president doesn't do the day-to-day supervision.
The president gave a nod to his project.
A nod.
He actually called it a godly project.
Yes.
Supposed to do gatekeeping.
So the KCCA,
they're supposed to do gatekeeping.
where there's incompetence, they're the ones who are supposed to do the day-to-day diligence and say, go back to the president and say, the guy you have given, from our past interaction with him, these are the fault lines. And we don't think he is either capable to implement, deliver this project as he has shown you, or he's going to behave differently from the previous. Hasn't the Nakibo channel been killing people? People drowning there?
But look,
haven't you Kampalans been throwing solid waste and clogging.
Yeah, but
Haven't you been defecating? So you have
in the aftermath of the disaster, we saw the Prime Minister going down and asking Ham to make adjustments to his construction.
No,
that literally suggests that there was a problem.
No. Did it need to take the Prime Minister to go and ask Ham to make that adjustment, or it should have been KCCA? I want to deal with the incompetence of KCCA, and this is not the first time. They have accumulated a number of instances of incompetence and negligence, either incompetence or complicity.
Actually, Chitezi resulted in casualties.
Or complicity. But you remember, the casualty was not immediate. It took something like 2 months, or so. Now, so for me, I want to blame the day-to-day managers of KCCA. My young brother, the crybaby, the Lord Mayor, which project has he ever supported from the word go? Which one? No. He has been there 16 years, 15 years. Which, mention one project.
Look at it this way. Look at it this way.
No.
The Lord Mayor raised a red flag on the flaws that accompany the giveaway.
I'm saying, which project in Kampala has he not opposed? You are talking of Nakivubo. Isn't this Nakivubo of Ham much better than your Nakivubo, which was there? So there is an improvement. If it is not up to the standard if it is not up to the standard.
No, it's not. It's just the tough which is
Have
different.
you been there?
Yes, I have been there.
Okay.
Yeah, I have been there and I used to be there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, you have just added. The only thing you have seen there, that's a new thing, is a tough. Now, you are being disingenuous. I don't agree with you there. Now, for me, we pay our taxes to the government employees, and those are the people we should hold accountable, so that they hold whoever other partner they have brought to help them develop to account.
I'm afraid I'll give you an extra minute in this, but could it be that the supremacy of the president's letter ordering the giveaway of the project could have disarmed the KCCA?
First of all, the president did not order. But even if he did, in our letters of appointment, those who are appointed by the president, we swear to give him honest advice, counsel. If Ham went to the president said, people consider Ham, please give him. KCCA people had the burden, had the obligation to do the due diligence, go back to the president and say, Mr. President, the person you have sent to us, for reasons 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, it is called gatekeeping.
Yes.
That's what they are supposed to do in the first place.
We politely decline to grant your offer until the person meets the following.
Do you find that tenable?
Yes.
Yeah, it is tenable. Jennifer Msisi, used to do it.
For me.
Do you know the cost?
No,
the cost is that if you can't stand the heat, you get out of the kitchen. Yes.
The president asks me, go and give Simon Kagwanjara a job of being the ED of Uganda Media Center. I will look at your qualification, I look at your behavior, I look at other things, then I write back to the president, I say, Mr. President, you have sent me Kagwanjara, yes, he's a son of your RDC, but does not have the following, what it takes to be the government spokesman. I would, and I can tell you, the president will thank me, will be grateful that I have given honest advice. And I can even recommend, this person does not qualify for this job, but I think he qualifies for this one. And therefore, our public officials who serve the government, who serve the president, particularly directly, ought to do their diligence so that they help the president. And I'm not just talking about this president, any other president. If a minister asks me to do something or to give something to somebody else to do, let me say, the minister says, please give Kagwanjara to print or publish the magazine for independence. And I know Kagwanjara is a crook. I'll say, yes, he's competent. I will give a confidential.
I hope that's hypothetical.
No. I will give a confidential. I will give a confidential brief, and then say, politely turned down, unless you have put the following to ensure that Kagwanjara will deliver the project. And therefore, we should hold these cases here, guys. There's a minister there. There's the Lord Mayor and his council. Isn't there a council there? There is the technical wing headed by a brand new civil servant. Would the president hang all of them? Would he? If they turn down? So Ham, in my view, Ham may be having his fault. I don't know him much as a business person, but they should have done what was necessary.
Yeah, but as I get to Honorable Balimoizo, what would you say about what has been termed now as indifference of the state? The state is simply making promises and not cracking the whip on anyone.
No, but you are the one who just said here that the Prime Minister was there.
Yes.
Has directed the stakeholder, KCC in particular, to bring on board other agencies.
Is that accountability?
Yes. No, you are saying, did you use the word ambivalence or lack of interest? Isn't that some step? You can say it is not sufficient. You can say it is not effective. You can say probably the Prime Minister doesn't have the competence to judge, whatever. But you cannot say no step has been taken. You can say it is insufficient, maybe.
Well, Honorable Balimoizo.
Yes.
Pardon?
Now there seems to be a lot of politicking over the tragedy.
I don't know how competence anyway.
There seems to be a lot of politicking over the tragedy. While traders are counting losses, barbs are now being thrown at Noop, having failed to tend their councillors. On one part, it is government. Who will speak the truth about this? And what is it anyway?
I think I'm going to give you the truth, and the only truth. First, I wish to extend my deepest sympathies to all those that lost their dear ones and property worth billions of money. This was a human-induced disaster. You are all aware that Nachivo Channel is one of the control floods under the Kampala Drainage Master Plan. This Nachivo Channel receives 60% of the surface runoff. I'm now going to talk as an engineer. Kampala has characteristics, and one of them is the surface, call it the surface runoff, which is in the range of 0.89, 0.8 or 0.9. And it's because it's so high, and the reason is that Kampala is overbuilt. Whenever you build the surface and it's impervious, then you will have surface runoff, a lot of surface runoff. Onomukoka. Okay? So because the intensity, the rainfall intensity in the Kampala is in the range of 130, 150 meters per hour. Kampala was made of hills and low-lying areas. So these hills have been overbuilt. And we have the lowest point, which is now Nachivo Channel, that receives the 60% of the surface runoff and drives it up to Lake Victoria.
Well, you're schooling us on.
Yes, I'm telling you. I will tell you areas like, all areas like Nakasero, all the surface runoff,
is that all the important for now? What is very key is accountability.
Yes, that's where I'm going.
Not education.
It's all about...
Not awareness.
That's the problem. That's the problem, and that's the reason you go wrong. This is engineering. The challenge is that all this water ends up in Nachivo Channel. Previously, Nachivo Channel was open. It was an open channel, and it would receive all that surface runoff directly. Now that it is closed, all the inlets were closed. That's the reason that it cannot enter, and therefore it falls back.
Does the engineer want to tell the viewers that HAM has built the entire length of Nakivubu channel?
Not the entire length.
Which receives the stormwater.
Exactly.
That's why he has blocked the water.
He has blocked the waterways.
Yes.
And that's the reason that it is now flowing back into the shops.
Honorable Balimwezo, you are a politician.
I am.
You should have played oversight in the first place.
And I did that.
He was the mayor before?
Yes.
In Akawa division?
Yes.
In Akawa division.
Where were you? Where were you as Balimwezo?
I think you have been.
As HAM started.
You have seen me. You have seen me act before, to an extent of even taking Kampala capital city to courts of law after this lady drowned in a channel. I had to look for her body. 7 months. And under tort law, negligence is a case, ladies and gentlemen. So I threatened to take cases into courts of law, and they had to compensate the family.
Okay.
I didn't just.
What is now trending? What is trending now are blames. In the first place, the NUP councillors, the party where you belong,
yes,
are now in the spotlight for having maybe dubiously awarded HAM.
Don't talk about the NUP councillors. Talk about the council, where the Lord Mayor sits, where the Lord Mayor is the political head and the head of strategies and policies that are used to enhance service delivery. The Lord Mayor is part of the council.
Yes.
And the resolution was that KCCA partners with a local investor. Not HAM, but any local investor.
Yeah, but look, this is a resolution
that's where you go wrong.
The Lord Mayor.
That's where you go wrong.
This resolution.
The Lord Mayor was part of the resolution.
No, he wasn't.
He was.
Doesn't want to hold the Lord Mayor.
He was.
No. The executive council.
He was.
I'll share with you the later.
He was.
The executive council.
Where does NUP come in? Where does NUP come in? Where does the Secretary General of NUP come in?
The Speaker of, rather, the Lord Mayor wrote to the Secretary General of the National Interplatform, raising a red flag that your councillors are betraying me.
It's not the first time that we have had a party like NUP leading the opposition. We have had FDC having majority before for the last 10 years. Show me a letter written by the Lord Mayor to the Secretary General of FDC telling him, look,
no,
your councillors
you're being disingenuous here. This council is dominated by the National Interplatform.
True.
Now the Lord Mayor
they are now all under the Lord Mayor's leadership as political leader.
The Lord Mayor writes to the Secretary General asking him to rein in on his council, on his members,
I think
the errant members.
I can come to his defense. The Lord Mayor was doing political posturing. Yeah? It is, you do not go, these are laid out institutions. Well, the institution is that you sit in the council. If you are beaten by the numbers, the resolution holds. Now, if he loses an argument in the council, he cannot therefore write to the Secretary General of the party. If he wanted to lobby, he should have found a way of staying the matter, lobbied to have these people change their mind, and he gets his way.
No, but
he cannot come and write after.
But look, in addition, before you go ahead,
no.
In addition to that,
if you understand the sequence of events, after
he wrote after the resolution,
presided over by Zahara Ruirka, the speaker.
What was the resolution? Can you read it?
Yes, the
Can you read it to the public?
Was to find a local investor to develop the drainage channel, to raise money for the council. Which resolution was later
not that. I wish you could read it properly.
The resolution was vetoed by the Executive Council, wasn't it?
Vetoed?
Yes. And
how?
Then,
where is that?
Then council turned around.
Why did the Lord Mayor speak to the minister who has a right to veto, to reverse a decision of council?
So are you faulting the Lord Mayor?
Yes,
True.
the Lord Mayor failed
because
in lobbying.
there are ways of reversing a decision of council. The mandate is
was
given.
reversed.
The mandate is given to the minister. It wasn't reversed.
It was reversed. And guess what?
Show me proof.
Guess what your council did? They passed another resolution awarding Frank Rusa a prize.
How does it connect to the other,
It does.
the other resolution?
It does, because...
How? Tell us.
No, but does the SEC of KCCA have powers to veto council decisions?
No.
Yes, yes, they do.
No.
It's the top organ.
No, it is the minister who has
It is
right
only
to
the
veto.
minister, not SEC. SEC does not have powers to veto council.
Show me a letter written to the minister
You see-
requesting her to veto the decision of council. Show me proof.
It is the minister who can veto.
I can
the
show you a
decision of
letter
council.
here written by the minister directing KCCA to speed up.
Yes,
The construction of
I
this
know
way.
that letter. I know that letter.
You have the
pretty well.
letter?
Yes,
Can-
I do.
can I give you a copy?
I'm going to flash it on the screen.
Can I give you a copy?
No, I'm going to flash it on the screen.
Simon.
Yes.
We are arguing as if the problems of Kampala and the immediate issues we are raising of flood was only caused by one factor,
Primarily.
Ham's construction.
In the instant case.
Now, are you
Primarily.
do you want to believe that all those arcades have been constructed according to plan, that the things that they ought to have to let the water pass, that they have not closed? Listen, narrowed the water passage. Listen,
Observing her.
Is spinning.
I know you want to absolve your friend, the Lord Mayor, and unfortunately for you, you didn't have the law, the grips of the law, that the Executive Council does not have power to veto the council decision. Two, how about the ongoing construction of roads, other things in Kampala? Don't they have a bearing on the closure of water channels? Are you saying all the ongoing construction?
Thank you.
No. I want to go to the last one. I want to go to the last one. Are you suggesting that the KCCA, all the plans, my brother here said Kampala is overbuilt. Yes, it may be overbuilt. Is it overbuilt according to plan, taking into consideration the terrain?
No, but
No.
I want to answer you. I want to answer you. Okay.
It's overbuilt, but is it overbuilt according to the design
I'll shoot
plan?
back with a question.
Yeah, but
I'll shoot back with a question.
So that you tell
but is trying to tell us
your aim
that when you are caught stealing, you say, but there are the others.
No.
So you should not.
Honorable Mao uses the phrase pinhole. You are having pinhole sight. So you want to see harm, but you don't see the other bigger issues that actually go beyond Nakivubu.
Yeah, but I want you to. I want to ask you as well.
Yes.
I want to ask you as well.
Yes.
Would you fault the Lord Mayor for raising a red flag about an imminent danger that will come with the construction?
I started by saying he's a crybaby. Is there something that the Lord Mayor has not proposed in this city?
Okay.
Show me one success. When it is now politics is good for him.
No, but he wrote the letter in July. He wrote
Yes.
Jala.
Are you saying he was not aware that elections are coming? He wasn't aware that elections are around the corner to raise this thing? And they are telling these two people who are apparently knowledgeable about the Local Government Act and KCCA Act, they are telling you there are things he could have done. One is lobbying his council. First of all, not to give harm.
Okay.
Let me add to you.
Okay, I agree. The Lord Mayor.
Since after all,
the Lord Mayor could be a crybaby. But he raised the red flag.
First of all, he had been complaining about harm investment. Now, why didn't he lobby council not to give this local investor called harm, so that they look for a new one?
He wrote to asking the Secretary General to realign council.
I want to be clear on this. Council did not give harm this channel. The person that gave harm this channel is the president of Uganda, who even approved the plans. I have a letter written by the president.
Carries, which has secular people there. How come they did not stop harm? The first strip of sand, this first strip of aggregate, the cement, and so on. And you are not seeing, You wanted the president to be the one to see that? Now,
So how significant was the Prime Minister's visit?
For me, I agree with the Prime Minister's visit, and part of some of the recommendations they have made, we can salvage. Even where there's no plan, you can say, halt.
No, you cannot make recommendations on a project which is illegal in the first place.
No. That's why I'm using the word salvage. You can salvage what is bad. Listen, these traders who are now crying and asking, requesting or asking for compensation, have you examined whether all of them are bona fide traders? But out of humanitarian ground, as a government, you cannot say, go hang. You make do. You salvage, you help them, and educate them about some of the mistakes they themselves made or found themselves in.
Where would you fault the traders?
We should go there after.
I think you're being insensitive.
When you are running a country like ours, a young country like ours, yes, there are many things people will do which are illegal, but you balance. Where it is the government which did not do its job, you can bend backwards and say, you traders, although you don't pay tax, you don't do this, you did not take out insurance, the government will never do this. And this is not the first time we're doing it. You saw with the South Sudan traders, you saw during the time of corn, when corn was banning buses and lorries and businesses, the government of Uganda said, we let you down. We should have provided security. We did not. So although you did not take insurance, although you did not take out war insurance, we as the government of Uganda, we shall compensate you.
Honorable Balimwanzo, the blame game is not likely to stop at this time. What is the immediate solution?
Thank you. One, the project should be halted.
Or demolished?
No.
It's illegal.
Listen.
It's illegal.
What should have been done earlier before would be when someone comes with a proposal, you evaluate the proposal. The technical people evaluate the proposal. To an extent of even getting an environmental impact assessment, environmental social impact assessment.
Asia.
Asia. You should have an Asia, because this project basically affects the community, affects the environment. After making assessments, there should be working drawings, plans with the specifications, approved by KCCA before even you hold. Because even holding, you need a holding permit. But for starters, you should have realized that if one of the reasons for you to construct and cover the channel was that people pour garbage there, have you now dealt with the issue of garbage management? Because here you are, you must have a methodology. Which technologies are you going to use while constructing in a waterway?
NEMA has been ruthless on people who are building in wetlands. They have demolished their buildings. How come NEMA is mute?
Because this project
of this scale.
This project was approved by the president, as stated in his letter.
What's the role of NEMA?
I approve of the plan. That's the statement of the president.
No, but there is no plan. Is there one?
He saw a plan which was defended.
Leonard.
And he clearly stated that
the president's letter says something godly.
No, before we go to the president's letter, first things first, the investor should be in prison. That's the first thing. We must put an end to impunity. We cannot say we are salvaging.
Where do you start from in blaming the natural river drainage?
No, you can. First and
foremost, where is the technical report?
The KCC executive director appeared on and said they told him not to start on the project until he has got an approved plan, which he did not get, and the executive director confirmed they have not given an approved plan. But I have a friend who
has she halted? Because she has that power.
She says she has written halting.
No, yes, she has.
What she doesn't have is executive power of the police to go and halt. Ham is in bed with the security agencies. That's why I said, where I fault the executive director, she was supposed to lead a multi-agency team. You call the police, you write to the IGP and tell the IGP to instruct the commander of Kampala Metropolitan to be part of that team.
Okay,
himself.
you take
then you bring
Nema.
You bring Nema. Wait, bring Nema on board. Nobody should run away. KCCM must provide leadership. You see, when I was dealing with these Chinese who are doing loans and abusing people, I went to Bank of Uganda. I told them, take leadership. You are everybody saying, oh, Rumra, this one. I told them, Bank of Uganda, the buck starts and stops with you. Take leadership. When they took leadership, action started moving. That's why I told you that the problem of Uganda is impostorism. These people, the KCC executive director, is also thinking that if I come so hard, I might lose my job. It's because people are in survival mode.
When cheaters happen, when cheaters happen,
there were casualties. She was sacked. But there are no lessons learned by the successor of Chisaka. She has not learned from the incident of the unfortunate incident of Chitezi. So what I'm saying, Ham should go to prison so that just like they take people who are poor. I have a friend who was taken in because he was building without a building plan in a wetland. The National Building Review Board, KCCA, and the police took him in. Yeah? So they take people who are not well connected. Why shouldn't Ham be in prison? Ham should be in prison. That is the first thing. To send a clear message that there is no other entrepreneur, however connected you are, that will go against municipal laws, will go against, will begin building without an approved plan. If we want to build a serious country, these MK people have been telling us that they want to fight corruption. If MK is coming to be president, this is the time for them to show us leadership. There were rumors that MK had a hand in taking the Chisakas to prison, to police cell, and ended up in prison. Let them show us leadership by sending him to prison.
Yeah, but is it a remedial step? Does it give any relief? Relief to the aggrieved traders?
Why are these put in the laws? You send a clear message that there is no tolerance for impunity. You cannot build a society where laws do not have effect on the rich. If the rich can get away with anything, then why do you have laws? Are you making laws for the poor? Are you saying that only the poor in Kampala should be taken in prison because of building
another
plans?
Question for you.
Yeah?
Did the politics fail Kampala?
I already started by telling you that it is only in rivers and bad governments where the lightest rise to the top. What I was meaning by the lightest, I was meaning mediocres, imposters. Imposters are in positions. Why? Because of bad governance. So that's why I told you that I brought that quote of Benjamin Franklin. So these are all symptoms of bad governance. And this is what we are rotating around. We are running away from the elephant in the room. I can understand my brother there because he has to play safe. You see, as the incoming Lord Mayor, he has to brand himself as somebody who can do deals, who is not an extremist.
Not deals.
Okay, I mean,
who can follow the law.
Who can follow the law and who can strike
yes,
the compromise?
Because there is no rule of law.
Okay. You want to come in here?
The enforcement of the law.
You want to come in here?
There is a lot of impunity, and I do agree with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to put an end to impunity.
Where would government, and why in the first place, would government absolve harm and instead pledge to compensate the traders?
I don't think the compensation to traders is an acknowledgement that Ham is doing the right thing. No. You would have wanted Ham to go to prison. His recommendation is the project should be halted until
I was continuing with
so that the mistakes are corrected. And I agree with him that halting is the most useful direction to take. Halt and call the other stakeholders, add with Ham and say, we want the following things fixed. And we want the following people to be on site, to put their eyes closer, step by step, so that we redeem this project. Because
I want to remind you that there is no approved plan to this.
Yes, even where
it is illegal.
No, even where nothing exists, even when there's illegal. Today in Uganda, you know, we have now a system in the court system where they send you the disputing party, the conflicting parties, they say, first guard, sort yourself, you report to us. So we can use the same approach. Yes, you would wish to take him to prison, but fortunately you don't have that power.
And the law to other
and he want to go to prison. The direction taken by the Prime Minister and therefore government of bring other additional stakeholders to correct the mistakes so that the project goes. Because this channel should have been corrected yesterday, should have been expanded yesterday. I am told, by the way, that the original channel was 6 meters. Now, Ham's modest contribution has expanded it to 12 meters. Is that sufficient? Is that what he had put in his proposal? I have not seen his proposal.
Okay, but there is a master plan to that drainage.
Yeah, but
there is a drainage master plan
but
that never envisaged the developer.
But a master plan is not written on stone. It can still be adjusted. But even before we go to the master plan, you can do stop-gap measure. We can even now consider...
On an illegality?
Yes,
want an illegality?
Yes. Now, once you stop it and you make this correction, it stops to be, you validate. And that's why I'm saying you can validate. You can salvage. I'm using words carefully because I know some English. I'm using that salvage. The government of Uganda can make a project which is illegal, which is not according to plan. You can give standards and procedures through which that project
can an illegality. And you want to legalize?
Yes, you can legalize in the church and in the courts. Don't you elope with the woman? Even in our traditional society. No. Yes.
And it was legalized.
Yes, it was legalized by Legonos #1. So it's supposed to be illegal. There are mechanisms in law through which you can legalize what was initially illegal. And so for me, I would prefer that route. Why? Because Kampala is choking. And part of the solution is enlarging and building. Now you can say which sections of the channel should be closed, which ones should be expanded, and all of those can be in the terms, the revised terms now that you give HAM. You can even say, we are bringing additional partner to HAM, who we think can enforce due diligence.
Okay, there is an interesting dimension to this. While the dispute continues, there seems now to be a war between Lukwago and the National Unity Platform.
No.
What does this speak to the politics?
Lukwago has always been a war man. For the 15 years has been there. You tell me. A war man. Tell me which minister. Tell me which ED. Tell me which other people he has not fought with. Lukwago knew in 2021 that the overwhelming majority of councillors were noob. You talk to him, ask him what is his overall strategy to deal with a council whose majority is from the opposition, probably young people, they have never worked anywhere, so that he builds harmonious relationship until such a time that his party can get the majority of council. So I think Lukwago is a person who has failed to build consensus in that council.
So
and by council, I mean...
Is he part of the problem that Kampala is going through?
Is the big problem because it has been the constant factor in the last 15 years. It has been the constant factor. And I think if there was power, if I had power, like now I'm talking, Kampala people, voters, ought to vote him out, and we try, maybe a new engineer, maybe can do better. But I think is no longer the solution, is the problem.
My brother, it's important that, well, when someone is doing such a big project, there must be a method statement, a document outlining how the project is going to be executed, the technologies and so on. That was not done. But we are now looking for a solution. The very first thing that we should do is to stop the construction. Then two, create openings, because all the inlets were closed. I'm talking, because...
But you are an engineer, right?
Yeah, I am. I've taught engineering at the university.
Would you allow an illegal project?
No, listen, for starters, because even demolition alone will take you some good time. You get me right? But you must provide provisions where the water can access into the other channel. Because all the inlets were blocked and it's still raining. Tomorrow it can rain. What is going to be?
But, Honorable, he widened that part which he built, right?
Yes, yes.
And then downstream,
Yes.
the other side is still small,
Narrow.
Yeah?
Yes.
So by channeling all this water in, are you not just pushing the floods ahead?
Because this channel was working even before.
It was narrow all
It was
through.
narrow, but it was performing its duty.
Yeah,
now he has expanded, thinking maybe that when the surface runoff increases, it will have enough capacity. But even then, if we do more construction, that we have surfaces that are impervious, what is going to happen? And you have constructed on top. How are you going to?
Here is the irony.
Expand.
The engineers have distanced themselves from the project.
Simon, they did not review.
Simon, a good
They did
Samaritan,
not approve.
a good Samaritan has sent me here a copy of the approval, building and a building permit.
Dated?
Dated the. Oh, you can continue. I look for the date. But
But as you go ahead,
yes.
The ED was live on camera saying there is no approved plan to this.
Well, I have now found.
Here is a letter from the ED.
I have now found. It is at the bottom. It is dated 28th October 2025. You can say they were clever by half, but there's a building permit. But signed by the, including by the chairperson, building committee.
Signed after a tragedy.
28th October 2025. And I'm saying they could have issued it or tried to be clever by half, but there's a building permit.
But I have a letter. I have a letter from the ED.
A building permit and no
Does
plan.
he have a lease to that property?
No.
It is a four-page document actually.
That must be fraudulent.
Can I just take a look at this?
No.
If you could just explain it to me.
I think they didn't read the English. I used the word, the phrase. They try to be clever by half.
They try to be clever by half.
Yeah, you are crude. I'm sending it to you.
But yes.
I have a letter written by the EG to the Lord Mayor giving a brief on the redevelopment, upgrade, beautification and improvement of Nachivo Channel. I don't know whether you saw that letter to the Lord Mayor, giving him an update. So I don't know why the Lord Mayor has not.
Yeah, but he has consistently
this.
given his disapproval
No,
and shared his reservations about the whole.
I want him to talk about
and
the updates.
his prophecy has come to pass. So what is next?
No, it's not only him who prophesies that. NUP as a party, on the very first day when they had just heard it, we came out as a party. He had just heard it, put the Bibati, okay? We came out as a party and he said we are not against any improvement of Nachivo Channel, but we want due process to go on as a party. So let him not accuse the party, accuse the Secretary General, not even the councillors, because the councillors did not actually give the channel to him. That's where we come now to defend our party. We cannot accept that kind of,
Okay. This is quite irregular. I think when you even look at the conditions of approval, they approved an ongoing project. What an idea.
Yes, so you can read this. But I'm saying a good
can you send me a copy of that? Because I haven't.
No, I think this is quite awkward. But I'm now thinking about the traders, the victims of the catastrophe.
Actually, to solve that problem,
don't you think
Simon,
politics is really overshadowing the pain?
Simon, that problem would have been solved in a very simple way. The traders would have chased him out of Nachivubo if they had agency. But like I told you in my opening remarks, the traders have been, divided. They have been disenfranchised. They possess no agency. They have no unity of purpose. They have no single voice. They cannot speak with a singular voice. They have no leadership. They have no direction. They are rudderless. And that is the politics of Musevenism. And I told you it is not only with the traders. It is with the parents in schools.
Yeah, but again,
it is everywhere.
Leonard, politically speaking,
that is politics.
This tragedy is coming at a time where elections are on the peak. Does it in any way affect anyone's?
That is why you see that the Lord Mayor is trying to milk every political capital he can milk out of it. Yeah? Even when he knows very well that he himself did not do the best he could have done, yeah, in the circumstances to protect public interest. He is trying to milk the political capital out of it. He knows that these traders who have been disenfranchised will simply say, Lukwago yaturanirira, he's fighting for us, he's our man.
Where is Noop that enjoys the stronghold of the city?
Noop enjoys the stronghold of the city. Why? Because you are saying,
albeit controversially, what would be the key lessons for Uganda? Samia garnered 98% with the opposition activists imprisoned and a number of...
To be honest, because I was in my own campaign, I did not bother so much, apart from knowing about 4 months ago that Tundu Lissu, the opposition guy of Chadema, had returned, and it looked like the waters had been calmed, only for him to be taken into prison, and then Chadema and a number of leading opposition politicians being banned. That's why he stopped. And then the elections of last week, where we're doing our nomination again, I did not bother. I was actually I think I was in Kapelebion. I didn't follow until I returned to Kampala.
Why wouldn't you be keen about regional politics?
I think I had taken for granted that Tanzania being generally a stable, calm place, there was nothing that was going to be out of the normal. And so it took me by surprise, particularly the violent response by elements from the opposition that Tanzania could have its citizens taking that route. It took me by surprise. But I tried to connect it back to what happened in Kenya, and I reflected it on what happened in Northern Africa in 2010, 2011, the Arab Spring. My gut suspicion is that while there are unfairness, I suspect also foreign hand, especially with the Gen Z movement around Africa and other parts of Asia, where it appears to me that the usual suspects from Western countries, either they are seeing the stance African governments are taking, reading through exploitation, saying, you see, we won't allow this to take place, we want to allow selling of our minerals and things like that. I think we are making our own mistakes. I think in the case of Tanzania, I think they made a mistake of pushing the opposition in particular to the wall. And that then feeds into frustration, particularly of young people who will now say, you can't provide us with good jobs, you can't provide us with this, you can't provide this, you can't provide this. And there is going to be, the anger has been bottled, is now welling. The English word is welling up. So I think that mistake feeds into that, and then there are people who will take advantage. You remember in Kenya, it started with the finance bill.
No, it started with
Mandamano.
Cost of living.
Yeah, then finance bill. Even when it was withdrawn, they now shifted the goalpost, as the literature would say. They now shifted the goalpost. Ruto must go.
One term.
So I suspect that there could be that element also. Genuine mistakes being made or recklessness being made. You push people to the wall, but it feeds into things that have been boiling.
Does Uganda have anything to learn from Tanzania?
Yes, we do.
Especially about the Gen Z force.
Yes, we do, but you see, ours here, I think our politics is a little more open. I don't think, you see, in Tanzania, first of all, you ban the leading opposition, not just the candidate, but the party. So what do you do with probably 50%, 60% of people who wanted to run for elections? What do you do? Secondly, you know, in Tanzania, their constitution does not allow challenging results from a presidential election. So you close those two. What are people left with? So in comparison to Uganda, even when things may appear bad, there are events. I don't think in Tanzania you can sit like here, and this guy is saying, Museveni what? Musevenism, that school boards in private schools increase tuition, and you blame Museveni. PTA people sit, the rich ones. I go to Budo. My children used to be in Budo. In the Budo, you cannot stand up and say that charge is not necessary.
So you agree with me?
Yeah, the richer parents will say, if you cannot afford, please take your child elsewhere. King's College, Budo.
Yes. So that's the Museveni.
Yeah. So I can agree that probably if it is a government school, where we expect the government to have, but you saw in here, you say the so-called foundation bodies, they can reject a headmaster sent by the government, paid by the government. Recently it was in Kisubi, St. Mary's, again, where my children used to go. So here, I think the comparison would be different. Here we have, in my view, sufficient events, but also the level of engagement with the citizens. The president of Uganda, I think, engages with the citizens and the leaders, even those he has disputes with. He engages much more deeper than I think what is happening in Tanzania.
Leonard,
so I think
what lessons does Uganda draw from Tanzania?
Okay. First,
and how is it influencing regional dynamics?
For starters, political power held by governments is illusory. And governments do everything in their power to make sure citizens never get to discover that the power they are holding is illusory. It can be taken away if the citizens just woke up and claim their agency. So I will start off by telling you that in Tanzania, the president, Samia Suluhu Hassan, did not take the dictator's notes from Uganda. Uganda, we have a refined dictatorship. So what O has been telling you, he was just trying to tell you that this is a refined dictatorship.
With events.
Yeah, he's using very nice language, flowery language, to paint a dictatorship. But the point is that it is a refined, better managed dictatorship that has been dressed as a quasi-democratic facade. Yeah? That is what you have in Uganda. Now, Tanzania's one is amateurish and managed in a primitive way. Now, could it be difficult for the president of Tanzania to come and learn from here? It is not difficult. Why didn't she learn from here? It's because of the Chikwete factor. President Jakaya Chikwete has been a long-serving intelligence operative in Tanzania. And he has been, scheming around Tanzanian politics for so long, even before he became president. So President Chikwete created a ridge between the current lady who succeeded President Magufuli and the president of Uganda. That's why she does not consult the president of Uganda. Why? Because she's controlled by President Chikwete. Yeah? So all the mistakes you have seen here can squarely be placed on the shoulders of President Chikwete, the former president. Now, he mentioned something about Western involvement. That is also true to a certain extent, but does not absolve the amateurish mistakes that have been committed by the people holding the levers of power in Tanzania. Yeah, like he's saying, what has stopped them from creating the events that President Museveni creates here? Yeah, you cannot say you are too amateurish and playing primitive politics, and then you want to blame the Western governments. Western governments ride on an anti-establishment sentiment that must first of all exist in the country. So the anti-establishment sentiment existed in Tanzania. Tanzania has been a dormant volcano for so many years. Me, that was my first assessment in Tanzania when I first arrived there in 2011. It's a dormant volcano. Politically speaking, Tanzania, it was waiting to explode. Politically speaking, Tanzania has not yet reached where Kenya was in 1992. They are still in the single party politics. So what happened is, maybe I'll just give you context. President Magufuli was not the candidate that President Kikwete wanted to come and succeed him. No. Yeah? He preferred somebody else. Now, what happened is that other players, key players within the CCM, realized that if they were to go ahead with Chikwete's preferred candidate, they were going to lose the election of 2015 to Chadema. Chadema was gaining popularity. So what did they do? They wanted a bulldozer, a reformist, who could come and fight back on corruption. And they would use the corruption card. So they were planning a coup against their own party, so that they could give the nation hope that much as we are in a single party state, there is some kind of revamp and reforms taking place. Now, that is how they settled on John Pombe Magufuli. Now, John Pombe Magufuli did not disappoint. He had his shortfalls. Also, he did not create sufficient vents. He had his shortfalls when it came to, political hygiene, but at least he acted in the interest of the Tanzanian people. That is why people are now referring to him as a benevolent dictator. Now, in so doing, he revisited so many contracts between the Tanzanian government and foreign players, especially in the mining sector. Yeah? Now, it is also believed, and there is sufficient reason to believe so, that this could have been part of the reason why he was taken out of action. Now, with the exit of President Magufuli, his deputy got captured by President Kikwete. Yeah? And President Kikwete started playing games. And I will tell you on this TV that President Kikwete, his wife, at one point, was supposed to be taken to jail on the orders of President Magufuli. Why? Because she was found in tax evasion. It's for you to take in a former first lady in prison. So President Magufuli was doing what I've been telling you now here, to do on harm. Ruthlessness. President Magufuli was not fooling around. For him, he was saying everybody is equal under the law. If you are found on the wrong side of the law, you go inside. That is what he was saying. So when he dies, now President Kikwete starts doing his things. And he has made the ladies make so many mistakes. So before we start talking about foreign influence, we should also, first of all, appreciate that the Tanzanians need to, first of all, revisit their own political setup, make it fit for purpose in the 21st century.
Yeah, but hitherto, Tanzania was docile politically.
The docility was by design. The Nyereres created the single-party state. It was by design. Now, it is no longer fit for purpose. You are in the information age. You are no longer going to keep people uninformed. So Tanzania needs to revisit the very foundations of its state. They need to revisit their constitution, make it fit for purpose. So Tanzania is at a political precipice, and what that political precipice spells for them is that this is a constitutional moment. Tanzania must start by revisiting its constitution.
Does it have any bearing on Uganda?
Does it have any bearing on Uganda? No. Uganda is saying, for us, we are smarter than those ones. I can tell you, I think President Museveni was looking at the whole thing and laughing at Kikwete and saying, you thought you are smart. By the way, remember, President Kikwete is the one who foiled the East African Federation fast tracking.
By the way, I just need to tell our viewers that we are actually going to cross, but before we get there, the frontline team is really excited that they thought, now that you're already on your way, ironing your suit to go to Parliament, we would surprise you with something, and here it comes now.
The cake.
Yes. We just want to congratulate you. I'm coming to you immediately.
Thank you. And Simon, I want to thank you for the contribution you made towards my campaign.
No. I hope going forward you'll be that transparent to declare everything you get. Congratulations.
To cut the cake.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are really proud of you.
Thank you to your NBS family. Thank you so much. And our producer, Jamila.
Yes,
Yeah,
sure,
thank you.
sure. Please keep it there, and the conversation continues on Afro Mobile.
Why is the Balimwezo sulking? Oh, making.
When Balimwezo is crowned Lord Mayor, we'll cut cake for you. Yes, but for now, we see no reason to congratulate you. Well, Balimwezo, the opposition only garnered 2% in an election that's been disputed.
Boycotted.
Does it define the stakes of opposition in the East African region?
When you look at what happened, it's a replica of what exactly happens here, despite the fact that my colleague there has, has clearly stated that here it's done better. So the notes are got from here. You are all aware that Tanzania is a multi-party country, but in practice, it's not. You are also aware that Chama cha Mapinduzi has been there for decades, ever since independence. And the technique now this lady is trying to use is to intimidate voters, and that is from the international community, the international observers. They clearly state that there was a lot of voter intimidation, which is practically also done here. There was restriction of the opposition to make campaigns, that some of the opposition members were even imprisoned. So it's equally done here. You will see that they cut off internet, they cut off media, and it was because they wanted to rig the election. And that's the reason they have the 98%. Samia is becoming another dictator. And that's why you saw people coming out of their bodies. The Gen Zs, even from Kenya, wanted to cross to Tanzania to help their colleagues. It was only that they were stopped. Otherwise, this is now the trend in East Africa.
Yeah, but you also had Samia saying those were intruders. Those were not Tanzanians who hit the streets.
How did they access Tanzania?
They were foreigners.
That means that she's in a problem if she cannot contain her borders. The unfortunate bit is that even the violence that was there is unaccounted for. People lost their lives. No accountability has been done at all. So in a nutshell,
how does it relate to the story back home? As we get into the January elections?
It's a replica. What happened in Tanzania may be worse here. Only that we are not going to accept the rigging of the elections. And I'm telling you this, we are going to make sure that we secure our victory. Victory to power, to insane service. Protest vote. Kalonde, kakolechi.
Kabale, kakume.
Kalonde,
Kabale,
kakume.
Kalonde, kakume.
Kalonde, kakume.
Bakalangirire.
Kabale, bakalangirire. Ukawerekere. Utegera bulungi.
No, but
the rigging here does not happen physically.
No. But Engineer Balimwezo, that's what the law here says. That you, the voters, first of all, the party, the candidate, have maximum 2 agents at every polling station. You voters come and vote. Where possible, you can stay at a distance. When it is 4 p.m., return within the polling station. Observe the counting. Observe every process. Observe the counting. Observe the declaration at the polling station. Accompany the ballot box to the sub-county for tallying, to the district for tallying. So what you are saying, you are repeating what is in the law. No, but, and nobody would have issues with you there. The only issue would be if you attempted outside the law to obstruct. another candidate, another voter, a polling official. And the system allows you to raise grievances, concerns.
Okay, but
along
there is
the
the
way.
Gen Z sentiment.
No, just
that
a point of information.
Gen Zs are part of the citizens.
No, point of information.
Yes.
Before we came to this program, I was watching news on Citizen TV. And the African Union Observer Mission in Tanzania has given a damning report on the Tanzanian election charade. The same thing that was done by the SADC Observer Mission. Now, these are usually observer missions that we usually question. No, we usually question them. Sure. Because usually we say they come into the country.
Election tourists.
Yeah, election tourists.
But I was simply responding to Honorable Barimwezi to say what they are saying they are going to do in the protest vote actually is not illegal. It is provided for by the law.
By
the laws of Uganda. The only mistake you will make. The only mistake you will make is to underestimate and you obstruct. You behave with belligerence outside the law. That's the only area you could make a mistake. And that's where the rubber will meet with the tarmac. Really.
The what?
The rubber will meet with the tarmac.
No, those sentiments
don't
the NUP.
Don't obstruct other voters. Raise your concern.
Don't do that.
And there are channels. There are channels.
I think you saw what happened.
Okay, you feel inspired by everything that transpired.
For me, that is empty rhetoric. That whole thing of saying
Kakaronde.
Empty rhetoric. It is a manifestation of a lack of strategy by the NUP.
Why?
Yeah?
Why?
Because
Can
you tell us that the NUP was cheated in Kampala last time? No. Can you tell us the NUP was cheated in Jinja last time? No. The issue that you are running away from, why you are denied electoral victory, even when you think, and by the way, I'm not saying that the NUP didn't win. Yeah? It is very possible that he actually polled more votes than President Museveni.
Exactly.
Because of the population distribution in Uganda.
Thank you for that.
But the only problem you have is a lack of strategy. You see, what you are not dealing with are the software issues. President Museveni does not fiddle with elections the way elections were fiddled with in the 1980s, in the 1980 election. They fiddle with elections using advanced methods. I'll give you an example. Are you going to force the Electoral Commission chairman to begin announcing results starting with Kampala? No. He's going to start with the Karamoja. The same script. He will start with the Karamoja and say President Museveni 100%. Then he will start bringing in Chiruhura, and then the percentages will start dropping to 90s, 80s, until when they will settle around 50 something.
But we have no control.
Do you have candidates in Karamoja?
We have no control over that.
No, you had control.
How?
You see, let me tell you, you people try to play victim all the time. Let me tell you, when you realize that you have been beaten at the game of numbers in Parliament, Parliament has been bastardized, you must take the conversation out of Parliament. That's why I keep telling you people should go and study the politics of Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga always knew when Raila Odinga discovered, for example, in 2013 to 2017, he discovered that he didn't have numbers in Parliament. The Jubilee guys had played games on him. So what did he do? He said, let me go to the street because you have numbers in the street. He took people to the street and said, IEBC must go. Okay? He said, we want reforms. Now, all these reforms were not done based on parliamentary numbers. No, they created a joint committee where opposition and government had equal numbers. Yeah, the committee which was chaired by James Orengo and I think Kiraitu Murungi. So that is how you play politics. You must know when you have
why don't they hire you? Because your script helps Odinga to acquire power.
No,
it helps Odinga to acquire power.
Remain the most consequential politician in the history of Kenya. That is why you see, even the people who have been presidents have told you nobody has been bigger than Odinga.
Okay. Does Uganda have anything to read from Tanzania? Starting with you, OO.
Yes, I said first of all, our system is much better. What we can learn is not to be foolish. It's not to close all channels for raising disputes. We want to do that for sure.
But you still switch off internet.
But internet is like a road. If people are burning and beating others, you can put checkpoints. That internet is like a road, is like this.
It is an information superhighway.
Yeah, so it can be closed. Don't you know that we still close the Facebook?
Which is only closed on MTN.
No. I'm saying we have closed. Whether you are using VPN is a different matter.
No.
I'm saying
providers have not closed.
No. What I'm saying, officially we have closed Facebook for the last 5 years. And we are not about to open until we reach a meeting point.
Tanzania's
now,
Twitter.
The other issue, I simply want to say, here our response will also be different. Our response will be to persuade your young people you are trying to recruit. We are aware that you are trying to recruit Gen Z. We are aware that we are trying to build the intimidation squads. Today I was in Bukasa. I had given T-shirts there. So today I just went to check whether the people in our structure were putting on the T-shirts, and I found they were not. So I asked them, what was the problem? They said, we fear Noop. No people are going to beat us in Bukasa. So we know you are doing all those vaccinations.
Who do you fear?
No.
Do you realize that yesterday?
Of course I don't fear you. But so I am telling you, please.
But so what happened?
You know what happened?
I don't associate myself, and we strongly condemn. Every candidate should be allowed to go to places.
Do you give credit to Noop the way they handled the Kirua issue?
I didn't see how they handled. What I know, the police was there.
You think it was police? Could they overpower those people?
I am saying
if they wanted to.
There was police.
We must bring this to a wrap. Thank you very much.
Before you close,
give the incoming Lord
I am
Mayor.
requesting government to immediately compensate the victims of the floods.
Where do they start from?
You should make an assessment.
Verification.
How?
Verify those people.
The credentials.
They can do it.
Why didn't they do it?
They can do it, and they have already.
I don't think it's tenable.
It is tenable.
You are not going to give government help.
It's
But you
tenable.
see, you are simply trying to take advantage.
No,
because
not take advantage.
The government